All right, kids.
I'm here to support President Trump. You want to know why I'm here to support President Trump? Because they done did black men like this for decades. Make up charges and put them, so I know Trump is innocent. I support Trump against this corrupt, two-tiered justice system. That's why I'm here to show my support as a black man for Trump. And I'm wearing my shirt for Trump 2024, and I mean that.
What do you think about the indictments?
Oh, it's a bunch of bullshit.
That was Derek Gibson, also known as for Trump. Plural, but not they, them. 2 years ago, Gibson ran for governor of New York, but was disqualified from the Republican primary. That per Ballotpedia. Not sure of why that is, but according to his website, Mr. Niggas is a New York City native living in Queens. He worked in the auto and construction industries, eventually opening his own businesses in both. He's also a Proud Boys supporter with a podcast where he once compared the January 6th criminal cases to the enslavement of black folks. Quote, when people say, forget the nuts, this is an insurrection, they shouldn't have been out there, this is the same way that they did black people during slavery and after slavery. And if you couldn't tell black people apart, you may be racist and confusing Derek Gibson with Maurice Simonet, aka Michael the Black Man, founder of Blacks for Trump. You know, the dude who attends a bunch of Trump rallies and is always conveniently, strategically, in the background shot over 45 shoulders. Yeah, he's a former member of a violent cult whose leader, Yahweh Ben Yahweh, was jailed for leading a conspiracy to murder 14 white people in initiation rites. Simonet, born Maurice Woodside and maintained that name until 1992, was among the Miami-based Nation of Yahweh cult members charged in 2 of the murders, but he was acquitted. After the trial, he switched to his father's surname before eventually reinventing himself as Michael the Black Man, whose anti-queer, anti-Semitic, conspiracy theory-filled posts can be found online and heard on his radio show. All of that to say this: somebody should do something about these niggas. That came out wrong. That's not okay. The people who can be found all over this platform alone, Values Matter, Race Doesn't from PragerU, Why is there a woke obsession with race from a black, maybe liberal, possibly? This is why the left only focuses on race by friend of the program, Dr. Thomas Sowell, should be taking their own advice. If you want to end racism, you need to stop talking about race. But the black folks who would be considered DEI hires and beneficiaries of affirmative action if their political ideology leaned left and they themselves weren't brought on to specific media companies for the sole purpose of being the Negro face and voice of the right, Xavier DeRusso, won't stop mentioning skin color. So today we're going to talk about how Republicans are obsessed with race. It's a topic that they initiate, not the reactionary nonsense from them that leftists and progressives complain about. No, the right talks about skin color all the time. And as you're about to see, they only downplay racial diversity because they really don't have it.
One of the things I'd like to see, and I'm seeing, is more diversity in the Republican Party. To me, the Democratic Party is the party of coastal elites.
Take a look around at these wonderful members. This is the most diverse class of Republicans ever elected in the history of the United States Congress. We have more women than were ever elected before, more Hispanic members ever elected before, more African-American members in modern history.
Representative Elise Stefanik out of New York told Fox News' Sean Hannity in front of a room full of white people that the most recent House GOP class was the most diverse ever. Now, she added that there are more women and Hispanic members of Congress elected as Republicans than ever before, but then she said that there are more African American members in modern history. When did modern history start? Because while Congress is statistically more white than America is, there are less black Republican members in today's Congress than there were in the 1870s, with there being one current black Republican in the United States Senate. I mean, there's only been 12 black senators in U.S. history, but the vast majority of the diversity in Congress is in the Democratic Party, and black Republicans are far less likely to be elected into office. A few months ago, I made a video about how black Republicans need to deny the existence of systemic racism in order to keep leopards from eating their faces. Quick recap. The price of admission for Representative Byron Donalds is to say that life was better for black families during Jim Crow because they could remain together or something, without acknowledging that his family couldn't be together back then because miscegenation laws prevented interracial couples from getting married. Senator Tim Scott, who has taken it upon himself to get Trump some black voters, couldn't do it for himself, previously said stuff like, "The truth of my life disproves your lies," during his bid to become president. For him, Tim Scott meant liberals try to convince black people that America is preventing us from advancement and opportunities. However, there's more black success and representation and a better chance to win votes over on the blue side of the aisle. Tim Scott barely even made it in the top 6 among presidential candidates. I wonder why that is. And Senator Ted Cruz, a minority, told America that liberals are afraid of Herschel Walker becoming a senator. Lindsey Graham said, because if Herschel Walker becomes a Republican, maybe every other young child in America of color might want to be a Republican. He changes the entire narrative of the left. We're a party of racists. And like, Herschel Walker lost. Yes, they're the party of racists, somehow getting away with playing the race card and race baiting. Yet it's still, why is the left obsessed with race? From the side of the aisle that is so desperate for black heroes of their movement that they'll include anybody.
I wonder what Yasmin would do and any of those other people when they meet a black conservative. They're out there, but they're shunned because, boy, oh boy, what they have to say. And the late Herman Cain, and of course Ben Shapiro, not black, but one of the heroes of the movement.
Did they run out of brown people? Herman Cain died after getting COVID during a Trump rally. Ben Carson was the lone black person in Trump's 2016 cabinet. I guess we're supposed to believe that every non-brown face in this image was qualified for their positions, by the way. They gave Dr. Carson black people stuff. We all know what they mean by urban. And no disrespect to Uncle Ben, but they could have used any black man at that point. Which is also how Sheriff David Clark made it to this short list. Oh, and shout out to Dean Browning. Fake it until you make it. Look at these AI images that Trump supporters created to target black voters. There are some on social media that don't know that these are fake and can't tell the difference. May not have noticed that these brothers and sisters' skin, I'm making this about race, is too shiny, and that they have extra fingers and arms, or that Trump isn't claiming these people as his own.
Look at my African American over here.
Lately, Trump's chosen African Americans have been those who have dealt with the criminal justice system, not from an empathetic standpoint, but ever since he got felony charges, he has felt like black Americans and Latinos can relate to him because prosecutors are out to get him like they have been out to get many men and youth in our communities. But he didn't always feel that. He didn't feel that way before. Weird. He felt death penalty-y. Here's the thing. When he said recently, this is a rigged trial, it shouldn't have been in that venue, we shouldn't have had that judge, it was after he was convicted of all 34 counts in the Stormy Daniels hush money trial from the Manhattan courthouse where the now exonerated 5 were wrongfully convicted. Irony. With that said, does N4 and Blacks 4 not know how middle America responds when black people were shouting about a 2-tier justice system, singing about trigger-happy policemen, standing up to a discriminatory and predatory FBI? Black people were not only told that these things weren't happening to them, but conservative white males are claiming that it's happening to them right now. For decades, black men were told that they have a victim mentality and somehow Trump doesn't. Meanwhile, the likes of Dinesh D'Souza was comparing Trump's mugshot to Tupac's. He knows nothing about black communities, being gangsta, and you just know that he pronounces the late great rapper's name as Tupac. This man is claiming that Trump's mugshot is an iconic symbol. Dinesh D'Souza was pardoned by Trump and has absolutely no street cred. I was about to lie and say that Republicans see us just one way. Video game developers do, but I'm talking about something more real than the Killmonger haircut. Republicans somehow go from seeing us as privileged yet criminals for around 3 years. As evidenced by this tweet, Trump is not black, not a Democrat, and not a violent criminal, so he really had no chance of being acquitted in a New York City court, but check the incarceration rates and graping someone is very violent. To being voters, year 4, the presidential election year. That's it. We're not full, whole people. We're hands that will hold signs, wave flags, and cast ballots. We're only useful for that black vote, the one that Dems take for granted and that the GOP thought they didn't need some time ago. Which reminds me, to the we're in a post-racial America because we voted for a black president twice type people, thanks for bringing up skin color again, and Barry lost the popular vote among white people twice. Roughly more than half of the country didn't support the man, and Not that we needed what I'm about to say to know that conservatives are obsessed with race, but they see color, all kinds of colors, so well and it runs so deep that they were concerned about Obama's tan suit and his brown mustard and his black birth certificate. It's here where I need to say that, of course, it's not black people's race that Republicans are obsessed with.
What does today represent to you?
How you doing? This represents a turning point for the people of this country. We are determined to take our country back. We're going to fulfill the promises of Donald Trump. That's what we believed in. That's why we voted for Donald Trump, because he said he's going to take our country back, and that's what we got to do.
The Grand Old Party and conservatives and right-side news media and broadcasting networks that serve as the communication arm for Republicans are obsessed with whiteness. I shouldn't have had to play a video of David Duke, former KKK Grand Wizard, admitting why he's voting for Trump for y'all to know that. White people want their country back. They need black people's help to get it, and these people just happen to be willing participants. Being obsessed with race and identity is why the Virginia Republican Party essentially deemed the state's lieutenant governor, Democrat Ralph Northam, a race traitor for his call to remove Confederate monuments. Being obsessed with race is why the Fox News vice president said this 6 years ago. Quote, unless it's changed overnight, the motto for the Olympics since 1894 has been faster, higher, stronger. It appears the U.S. Olympic Committee would like to change that to darker, gayer, different. If your goal is to win medals, that won't work. He said that pretty much unprompted. If you just let them talk, the right, along with Nazis and the Klan, who are on their side, no matter if they've been disavowed, will simply bring up race and skin color.
It's not about Brett Kavanaugh at this point. It's about punishing everyone who looks like Brett Kavanaugh. Stop lecturing me about norms, please. But let's get back to the race thing. Race, skin color, racial division, race, and gender. Skin color. Yeah, maybe screaming racist will fix the problem.
That won't make racism go away. You don't have to tell me that leftist media talks about racism a lot and lies about discrimination and bigotry from time to time. They do. Just like a Newsmax will pretend like racism doesn't happen to black people whatsoever. It's not a wash, especially when one side keeps aggrieved white male stories on heavy rotation. It may seem like Democrats have always had the black vote. President Lyndon B. Johnson got the vast majority of it in 1964 with the passage of the Civil Rights Act and the Voting Rights Act of 1965. This continued in the late 1940s when Harry S. Truman signed an executive order on July 26, 1948, ordering the desegregation of the U.S. Armed Forces. But black people primarily voting Democrat all started with the election of Franklin D. Roosevelt in 1932. According to data from the Joint Center of Political and Economic Studies, Roosevelt gained 71% of the black vote for his presidency in 1936. Policies drove that seemingly blind loyalty. And what do Republicans have? Fear-mongering. Of us. Trump has vowed to fight the anti-white feeling. And if any of you are under the impression that him, his party, or his supporters aren't for the advancement of white people due to them allowing blacks for Trump within their proximity, then you're missing it. When's the last time that anybody who says anything positive about black people been popular among conservatives? And I don't mean apologists or those who explain the plight of black America or even make excuses. Just someone who doesn't talk smack about us. And please remind me to do a video about how the right doesn't really care about black men and women with family values and good work ethic and are community oriented and crime free, or else they would love the LeBron Jameses of the world. Oh, that's right. Bron has had choice stuff to say about the police. Well,
they're killing Trump for no reason. And then they're using black guys like this here. See, notice he didn't tell the other media that
out of the roadway.
He only telling the black media and the white people that are for Trump. Yes, no, ain't no come on now. You a sellout, brother. I don't even know why I called you. I mean ham and cheese head ass. You know who you are. You a sellout. And I hate your guts. And I ain't gonna even. I'm not even like trying to roll it over like nice. Fuck you, nigga.
The way Bron votes trumps who he is as a person and what he has done, versus the temporary usefulness that Derek Gibson and Maurice Simonet have for Donald Trump. Partisanship. And I hope you weren't watching this episode to hear my analysis about why these black men support 45. Black men like them thick. To be clear, Blackness is what they mean when they say critical race theory and DEI and wokeness, along with law and order and tough on crime. And when the looting starts, the shooting starts. This rhetoric is a dog whistle to suburban moms, e.g., white moms. Evangelicals means white American Christian. If we can see through the signs, then we can be all right.
If me telling you as a white Christian audience about anti-Christian persecution makes you think about anti-white persecution as well, then I never have to mention race at all as a president, do I? I can just say Christianity is under siege. Our values are under attack. Our way of life is under attack. They're coming after Christians, and I can make you think anti-immigration. I can make you think anti-Black Lives Matter. I can make you think, whoa, Colin Kaepernick and NFL players kneeling. I can make you think about threats to white America by just talking about the Christian America. Do you see how clever that is, right? If that actually is transposable. And so Christian nationalism as a political strategy is not just about some kind of theology of who America belongs to as a Christian nation. It is about whiteness. It is about ethnocentrism. It is about so much more than religion, but it's also ethnicity as well.